Are you ready for some late night lunkers? Stick around. Hey folks, Keith here, Chicken Thigh Fishing. Welcome aboard. We are gonna hammer some hogs tonight. Let's rock and roll. All right, there's the first fish in the boat. First fish of the day. Very small, but I love them. All right, cheers, buddy boy. First fish came on a Magnum Gilsonic, as I like to do most often, is throw this big crankbait because it covers a whole ton of water at different depths and gives me an idea of what's going on. Wow, this is a very small lake, and I've heard that there's big fish in here and that it's deep, and I guess they weren't kidding. I'm in 50 feet of water here, and this is a small lake. I would call it a pond. It's my first time here, and but I guess we're gonna take a look. So I just switched over some gear to accommodate that. I had something different on this 6XD rod, which is designed for the XD crankbaits from Strike King. And so I changed it up because I had a 7.3 reel on it, 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. And so I changed that out to a Revo X with a 5.4. Because when you're running a big deep crankbait way down there, you get a lot of resistance with that big bill on it that gets it way down deep. And you know, if you're running a faster reel, a 6.7 or a 6.9 or a 7.3 or a 7.5 or more, you know, that beats on you with all that resistance down there. And that's much easier to reel down deep. You get less resistance because you're reeling in less line per turn of your handle. So if you don't know what gear ratio is on a bait casting reel, or really any reel, when you see the gear ratio 7.3 to 1, for example, that means every time you turn the handle, the spool spins 7.3 times. Conversely, I just changed to a 5.4, so instead of 7.5 times per revolution, the spool is only spinning completely around 5.5 times per handle revolution. Obviously, the higher gear ratio, the faster the reel is on the retrieve. Some baits that you throw that you're going to want a slower gear ratio because you want a slower retrieve on it. You don't want to accidentally be burning something through the water at a fast rate of speed that's meant to be retrieved slowly. When you use the appropriate reel with the appropriate bait, it works as it's designed to. So there you go. If you didn't know that, now you know. All right. There's one on the jig. Oh man, he messed up my crawdad. Nice little fish. Another one on the jig in the pads there, but small, so hopefully we can dig up a donkey sitting in there. I'm just letting that jig drop 8-10 feet to the bottom of those pads, and they're hitting them. Little though, little so far. That don't mean nothing though. Big ones in there, big ones in there. There we go. So they're not just in the pads, they're on the transition, they're on the ledge outside the pads. And I keep getting action on every cast. Again, not exactly the fish we're after, but I will take them. That's a better fish. Not big, but our biggest one yet. I'll take him. Nice healthy boy. So I'm just letting it drop right on the transition here. Right on the transition, it comes out and it drops to about 20 feet. And it's, you know, it's kind of a slope. Guess we're not done with the jig yet. Come on, I want a fish that eats those. Fun though. Oh, how many times that's going to happen to me in my life. I just dug into a big fish and he ripped the rod out of my hand. And 10 feet of water, I'm never going to get that back. I'll try to catch it with a chatterbait. Unreal. Unreal. Come on, tell me that's it. Okay, I have the line. I caught it. I caught it. Oh, thank Christ. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. I just had a fish rip a rod and reel out of my hand, and I threw a chatterbait to try and catch it, and I did. Unreal. Wow, I got a sweet cove I'm coming up on right here. It's got Whopper Plopper written all over it. It's not a bad fish. Oh, I think I lost him. Either that or he's swimming right at me. Yep. He was swimming right at me so fast I thought I lost him. All right. All right, there's our first topwater fish. And he came on an XPS Chaos Shad, the black one. Same thing as a Whopper Plopper, just bigger and meaner and fatter. All right, another one on that Chaos Shad. Ooh, we're gonna have a night. We are gonna have a night. Wow, just a itty bitty fish, but aggressive. Okay, there's a good one. That was a good hit right there. That was a good hit. Brian would be proud. All right, there's our biggest fish yet. All right, that's our thickest one yet. Getting better. Right. Small but fun, like me. Now right at the mouth of this cove here that I just came in and hit with that Chaos Shad, right at the mouth is a hump. So I should hit some fish right on the hump. All right, there's our first chatterbait fish. Well, I sure am glad I decided to visit this place, because we're on fire. They're all small, but let me tell you something. The big ones are coming. That one that took that jig and took the rod out of my hand was not a small fish. Alright, I threw my gill sonic so I could get it down a little deeper, and sure enough. Alright. Came out my bluegill Magnum Gill Sonic, oversized lipless crankbait. Alright, I wonder how many of these we're gonna catch before we catch Larry. Alright, there's our biggest one yet. Man, we are catching fish. Holy cow. I hate to guess at how many we've caught already, but we've only been here a short time. Little chunker there. Not the fish we're after. Alright, we're starting to get a little bigger. Starting to get a little bigger. They are crushing the gill sonic. I'm throwing it right down that slope I was talking about. We came down this way and I was throwing that jig into the pads and then on the slope, and we hit this cove. Now I'm coming out of the cove and I'm hitting that slope again with the crankbait, dropping it down there. They are smoking it. Alright, that one got me right at the boat. Same size. I just went back to the chatter because I just came up on a public beach here. So I was throwing it at the raft and along the shoreline here, and hit that guy. It's on a big blade chatterbait. Alright, another one on the chatterbait. Dang. I mean, this is great fun catching all these fish. But you know what we're after. I don't hear no oinking yet. Still happening. Still happening. I'm on that chatterbait again. Alright, I'm on a new tree line now. It's got a little bit different structure than the other ones. Doesn't have all the pads in front. So I'm throwing right up against the bushes and the rocks, but still deep right at the water, where the bushes go into the water. The short line. That's what I was trying to say. Alright, that's a good fish. Here's a decent one on the Magnum Gill Sonic, entering a cove. I'm telling you, man, I'm not complaining because we've been killing them, but man, talk about consistency in the size. And I don't know, we may have to wait till first light to get that donk today, but hey, if the donk comes, I don't mind waiting for it. So I'm gonna take a little break, change up some gear, and see what's what. Alright, well, new bait, same fish. I threw a spinner bait into the pads right here, and this guy snapped it up. I went with a darkish color. I went with the copper craw, and that was my first cast with it. Dang, man, we are setting a world record for small fish. Beauty, he's gonna grow up and be big someday. But I want him to be big today. Well, a little bigger than the last one, but still, in general, the same size. I don't think we've gone past 2.5 pounds tonight. We've had a couple that approach 2.5, but we haven't hit a 3 tonight. Well, they're liking that spinnerbait. That's 3 consecutive casts. Alright, that's a bigger fish. That's definitely a little bigger. No, a little bigger. Not much, but a little bigger. Come on, baby. So as small as this little lake is, it's actually got a couple of nice little covey areas. And so the last several fish I've got are at the mouth of a cove again. I came in and I went around and I fired the chatterbait at the pads and the reeds, and we got a few on that. And then when I took a break and then I switched some baits up, I started throwing the spinnerbait, and the first at least 1 or 2 I got were at the pads and reeds. But then the wind kind of turned me towards the mouth of this cove, and all the rest have been right at the mouth there. So you always hear me talking about fishing the mouths of coves. That's why. So the small fish are no problem, clearly. I mean, we're over 30 fish in the boat, so that's insane. So I'm trying to figure out what to go deep with, because clearly the big bass aren't up shallow, and if they are, they're not eating, because they would have been mixed in with the fish we've been catching. So I'm going down deep with a big old 2-ounce Grim Reaper large swim bait, spinnerbait to get way down there. And I'm gonna get some other deep baits to get down there, and hoping that the big ones are down deep. Still only 2 pounds though, if that. I thought he was even bigger than that. He's still small, but he's got a big belly. Wow, we have caught a lot of fish. A lot of fish. I'm back in shallow again. I went deep with a Grim Reaper 2-ounce spinnerbait, a 10XD and a 6XD deep diving crankbait. Nothing doing, so I'm back shallow again. There is our biggest fish. Still not giant, but nonetheless a decent sized fish. Finally a halfway decent sized fish. Alright, I just switched up to a chatterbait. I got sick of not getting hit on the spinnerbait again. I mean, we got hit on it, but then it went quiet for a little bit, and so I switched up. Not half bad there. Well, that was an explosive hit by a small fish. We're getting ready for first light here, so I'm starting to get ready for topwater time. And I pulled out my pompadour. Yeah, got this nice little guy. Boy, he blew that up. Alright, that's not a bad one. I mean, little guy, but dang. Alright, that's not a bad one on the jig. Alright, I'm going to stick with this jig, man. They're hitting the jig. Alright. Another halfway decent one on the jig. Another one, little guy. Whew, man. Another one on a jig. Man, I can't even imagine how many fish we have caught. This has been an all-night bite. I mean, straight up crazy. Just no donks. Well, he was right where he was supposed to be at the end of that lay down. Boy, those pads are loaded. Loaded with small and medium little guys here. On the jig, I had to put a new one on because I just lost one in a tree under the water, and that happens when you toss in a jig. Nice pretty fish there. I'm gonna keep throwing this thing till I hit a fatso. That's back to back in the same pads. That's a lot of fish we're getting on the jig in these pads. They are just loaded. Alright, we got one on the pulse tail, Savage Gear pulse tail swim bait. He just took that good. That was nice. I sure would like to know where all the big uns are today. I'm gonna stick around a little while longer because I'd really like to catch one. And we caught a ton of fish, no doubt about it. Let's see, we caught them on the spinner bait, the chatterbait, the swim bait. We caught them on a pompadour. We caught them on a chaos shad, which is basically a whopper plopper. We caught them on the jig. And we caught them on a Magnum Gilsonic crankbait. So we caught a bunch of fish on a bunch of different lures, and I love that. And some of the techniques that we used that worked last night were pitching a jig into the pads, because we had pads with a lot of water underneath them, 8-10 feet of water underneath them. Chuck that jig in there, let it drop to the bottom. We were pulling them out left and right. And then with the chatterbait, the technique we were hitting them on was, actually it was two. We were hitting them on the throwing towards shore and pulling it back towards you, and throwing it and pulling it through the cove, which was about an 8-foot cove. We hit some there too. And so same thing with the spinner bait. And now I'm just throwing this swim bait, this bluegill RTF, ready to fish, because it's got the top hook molded in there. And I'm staying on the shade side of the lake. The sun is beaming over there, so I'm just going to extend this morning as long as I can with the low light and keep hunting for that hog. I mean, we got great fish and we got a million of them, just haven't got a hog yet. Alright, well, we got another one on another different bait. And this one came on a Battalion, Mega Bass Battalion, little guy, but great bait. I don't know whether it's a swim bait or a crankbait. It kind of doesn't know what it is, but it's segmented and terrific bait, great action, and just a really great action on it, whether it's constant retrieve or stop and go. I got another shallow swim bait here. I got a G-Crack Gilling 125. Yep. we got another one on another bait. So that came on a G-Crack Gilling 125. Shallow, very, very shallow. It kind of goes on the top of the water, just below the surface. So it's great for weedy places, shallow rocky places. And this perch pattern is awesome. And I just rolled that over a tree rather. I rolled it over a tree, and this guy was right there, and he really walloped it. Nice strong little guy there. Great bait, hard to find. through a 77X Swank shallow crankbait hybrid, and we just got one on that. All right, there's another one on the Swank. All right, wow, we're having a smorgasbord here. So we got another fish on another different bait. So look at the size of the meal this cat's going after. Half his body size. So I was throwing a Big M 4.0, trying to get down deep. I'm still looking for one of those hogs. And this is a great bait, great pattern. It's big wobbling, rattling action under the water. And these are made by Megabass. And there's three kinds. There's the 2.0, which runs about 6 feet deep. The 4.0, which this is, which runs about 12, 13, 14 feet deep. And then they have the 7.5, which has a big old bill on it and goes down like 20, 25 feet. So this is the 4.0 Megabass Big M. And that just got smashed right at the boat. All right. Wow, another one. Another fish on another bait. I'm still trying to go down deep for a big one, but I keep getting these small ones from down deep now. This one came on a SKT 110, the Mr. Mag or MR Mag, I don't know what you call it, Skeet Reese deep crankbait. Not a bad fish, and this runs pretty deep down there, so God, I gotta get one of those big ones. Okay, another little one. Look at that. Look at that. Half his body size. Unreal. Alright, well, I think we found a winner with that lure for the deep run, but man, I can't buy a big fish, just little guys. This one came on a 6XD, extra deep, Strike King, deep crankbait. I figured I'd change to a little brighter color and see if that helped. Caught a fish on it, but again, small. One of these lures has got to attract a donkey. Well, folks, that's it. I'm wrapping it up. We can't find that donkey. Hey, we had a terrific night fishing, caught a million fish, used a whole bunch of baits, whole bunch of different techniques, and we caught ourselves a ton of fish. So that was good, you know. But man, couldn't find that big one, but we'll keep at it, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. The biggest fish we hit last night didn't even make it in the boat. He stole my rod and reel. Unreal. I can't even believe that happened to me again. And the fact that I was able to throw a chatterbait and catch that in 15 feet of water and retrieve it, man, you can't even make that up. Unreal. But hey, fishing is funny. You always hear me say it. Well, I hope you had fun with me last night, and we will see you next time. Until then, stay fishing, my friends.